most of the time you're gonna get one shot opportunity. But how rare is it to get two shot opportunities in the same week at your target whitetail? Well, this is the story and my hunt for the Great 8. It's a new piece of property. I'd actually had my eyes set on it for quite some time. Never been hunted for many, many years. After talking to a few people and gaining access, I had to come up with a game plan on how to attack this new piece of property moving forward in the fall of 2023. It was basically just a growed up farm that had been utilized to raise cattle on, and I had to start from scratch. I had no idea what was on this farm. I just knew that the area in general had good history, historical data with the hunters around the area. They had taken good deer, and I had to implement a game plan of utilizing trail cameras and aerial photography, studying my onX mapping system, figured out where I wanted to place cameras in March and April and May. I utilized some mineral sites, setting up some mock scrapes. I was able to build a pretty nice hit list. One buck stuck out in my mind. He was a big 8, super tall. He looked to be mature, 4.5 to 5.5, and he was all over the scouting cameras. I was in his core area for the summer, and he was the buck that I was gonna chase in 2023. And it's just a matter of waiting for the right time, waiting for that wind to switch out of the southwest, which was gonna be perfect. And we're getting into mid-October. You know, deer are starting to change. And I noticed going into the first part of October and the second week of October, this deer, just all of a sudden his pattern changed. For no reason, this deer was getting no pressure. At least that's what I thought. I decided to pull my stand back out of there, and I had to come up with a different game plan and how to hunt this deer. And over the course of the next few days, I went out and checked all my scouting cameras on different pieces of property, and a big, mega giant 8-pointer with a big drop showed his face, one that I had 4 years of history with. This was the buck that I was gonna focus this part of October on, and that's what I did. And on October 27th, I made my move. And he come right in to 23 yards. And I pinwheeled him. He went down on camera. And just like that, a 4-year chase for a giant Ohio 8-pointer was over.
I'm excited to introduce a brand new Deer Society video series called The Art of Deer Hunting. Now within this series, we have categories such as the art of calling, the art of food plots, the art of scent control. We're gonna detail and break down all things in these categories plus more, from trail cameras, stands, scrapes, all things related to successful deer hunting is what this series is all about. This series is a culmination of all the information we've received internally from some of the best deer hunters across the country and the methods they've used to successfully harvest mature whitetails year after year. This is called The Art of Deer Hunting on the Deer Society YouTube channel.
But in the back of my mind, the Great 8 still stuck out, and I wondered if he had made it, if he had survived. And I was kind of curious to see what 2024 would bring with me in the Great 8. I got one lone trail camera picture of the Great 8 with a busted G3 around mid-November, and that told me at least up to that date that he had made it. So going into 2024, I started putting scouting cameras and back into the same locations that I did as in 2023, hoping that I would get pictures of him. But the whole face of this farm had changed, and it was planted in soybeans in 2024. So I didn't know how that would affect the deer movement. How would it affect him? You know, he's a year older now, he's more mature, he's been around humans more, he's had more pressure, and I was kind of curious to see what would happen. So after running scouting cameras up into the summer months, the Great 8 is back. And the pictures that I'm getting of the Great 8 is awesome. He's got taller, he's got massive, his body has got a lot bigger. Without a doubt, again, he's my #1 buck on the hit list. But I've got to come up with another game plan, and I decided to implement a food plot, and I put in a primetime Nebraska food plot, and I just had high hopes that from the pressure to the north, it would force this deer to the south a little bit, and that's exactly what happened. And he started utilizing a different route of travel, and I had a new game plan on how I was going to take the Great 8. So we're getting into September and October, and bucks are beginning to shift into their fall ranges. But the Great 8 is still there. He's not changed one bit other than moving strictly at night. And I pretty much know this because of the neighbor's pressure, and I figured that I would probably have to wait until later in the month when things started to change, the weather got cooler, to make a move on this deer. And that's what I did. I sat back, hunted a few times just from some observatory sits, just to see if I could see the deer, but he never showed his face. Only on camera in the middle of the night. So I just sat back, let the cameras do their work, let them give me the intel that I needed, and when this buck showed his face in daylight for the first time, I would sneak in and make my move. So it's November 3rd, and I am itching to get into the tree. I know the Great 8 is on his feet in daylight, and I made my move. I got into the tree, and the feeling that I had in the tree that evening was just different. There was so much deer activity, I just had a feeling that that Great 8 was gonna come out of that timber, come out of his bedroom, and make his face seen. And right before legal shooting time ended, I actually was getting my camera gear and I was ready to lower out of the tree. I looked up, here comes the Great 8. And I shot low and back. All I could do was watch the Great 8 run away and stand out there about 400 yards wondering what just happened. So I've waited 2 years for an opportunity, the Great 8, and I mess it up just like that. 10 yards, quarter and two, non-lethal hit. I seen the Great 8 run away and stand there and look at me, blowing as he looked back wondering what happened to him. And now I had to figure out what to do next. And I wanted to give the deer a break. I just was worried that the Great 8 was just gonna vacate the place. He'd already dealt with human pressure. Now he's been shot. And I just was concerned that too much pressure, I would never see him again and he would vacate the property. But I was still getting photos of him on my Tacticams. This deer was still hitting the mock scrapes, coming into the food plot, coming into the primetime Nebraska blend that I had planted. He was still there. So I figured if I was just patient, waited for the weather to change, wait for that wind to switch, I could go in and possibly get a second chance at the Great 8. So it's November the 9th, and the weather's changed once again. The wind direction is out of the east, and I'm gonna make a move to a different stand location in hopes of seeing the Great 8. It's a great location to see a long ways away, and during the rut, it's a good chance to do some calling, and maybe if the Great 8 steps out of that timber, maybe call to him and get another chance. Having one chance at a buck is something, but having two chances at a deer, it's just extremely rare, but we're gonna give it a shot. So I make it to the stand and get all phased up, utilizing the face foam. I've made sure I'm clean because where I'm at in this tree line, the deer is all around me all night long. So I wanted to make extra precautions about my scent, and I just sat back and enjoyed the show. Seen deer all night in all directions. It just had that good feeling that a big mature buck was gonna show up. And wouldn't you know it, I looked to the east and out stepped the Big 8, out of that bedroom, out of that timber. So I've got the Great 8 at 80 yards in daylight once again. And from the previous trail cam videos that I had of this deer had an attitude. He owned that place. So I wanted to give him the vision of a hot doe over there, and I gave a doe bleed from the extinguisher. And I got his attention. He looked my direction, and I gave him one short snort wheeze with my mouth just to challenge him. Oh, here he comes. Here he comes. He didn't like that at all. He's coming right in. And that's all it took. And he came for a beeline straight to my location. Made the shot, but I spined him. Got another arrow and finished the deal. And just like that, 2 years chase for the Great 8 is over. It feels good to get my hands on him. Incredible story. And then to shoot him not even a week ago, Sunday, just right across the field, and him survive. And I started picking him up on the tact cams again, and sometimes they get stupid during the rut, and that's what happened. So when I think back about the chase for the Great 8, there's a couple key factors that led me to being successful on this hunt. Utilizing a community scrape that I'd made earlier in the year, and then a food plot in a different location to the south end of his bedroom. It attracted him away from that pressure and made him feel more comfortable. The second key to this hunt was utilizing trail cameras on video mode. A photo only tells you a part of the story. And when you take your trail cameras and set them on video mode, that deer shows you his demeanor. You get an idea for his attitude. And this buck's trail camera videos that I captured, it showed that he was the dominant buck on this farm. The way he acted with the scrapes, the way he acted prancing around on camera. I knew he was the dominant buck. And when he showed his face on November 9th, I knew that utilizing my extinguisher, if I set the scene up for him perfect, he would react, and that's exactly what he did. And I was able to close the deal on the Great 8.
Thanks for watching this Deer Society Hunt Breakdown. Subscribe to the channel for more great educational content to help you become a better hunter. From podcasts to the Art of Deer Hunting series, hunt breakdowns, tips, tactics, and a whole lot more. The Deer Society is all about deer hunting education.